Well, the changes I'm going to make today are, instead of flying at 200 feet, I'm going to go to 300. Whoops. And still going to use my 85% overlap. And I'm going to put the gimbal back down to -90. I'm trying to figure out why those corners of my maps are not getting rendered. Okay, that's done. Let's see it in a simulation. Eight minutes, one battery. Got a capture on approach. Still there. Altitude is 300 feet. No horizontal movement until it's at altitude. 300 feet. And a 90-degree down gimbal. Okay, let's go fly that and see what happens. I touch the button to start the mission. Off it goes. There's its ascent. Doesn't look like it has 45 degrees on the gimbal, but Then I start noticing a lot of shaking. There's virtually no wind today. So that bothered me straight away. But I continued. As it moved out to the entry point for the mapping mission, it just really was, the gimbal, I think, more so than the platform, was just jerking around. Didn't like it at all. So it got out to its entry point, shut off the approach video, got ready to do its 2-second videos for the mapping mission. Oriented itself, but then the gimbal started going left and right. It didn't point straight down. It was just crazy. So I manually on the controller invoked return to launch, and you can see the gimbal's still just doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So now it's coming home. I just don't know what happened with the gimbal. I'll have to check it a little better, lower than 300 feet. I've got 50 or more flights probably on the Mavic Mini. It may just be getting old. So it came back home, started down. I decided to manually point the gimbal straight down to try to move it through its full movement to try to get it straightened out. I have no idea what caused all that. I was just going to start the mission over again. I still can't see very well. I was at the eye doctor's last week. Cataracts aren't bad enough to operate on yet, but I did get a new pair of glasses, which are in. I'll pick them up Tuesday. So I tried to restart the mission, but I missed. It's still at 1 minute and 30 seconds. I went back out. I'm trying to abort the mission, but I'm touching the wrong place. Again, these 67-year-old eyes don't work too well. It's the 3 little dots on the right. There we go. Abort. Abort. Yeah. Now reload it. There we go. 0. So we'll touch that little purple and start again. Goes back up like it did the last time. Turns on its approach video. This time it does have a 45-degree down angle like it's supposed to. I guess it didn't get oriented 45 degrees down on the first one, so it just knew something was wrong and it was trying to correct it. Again, I have 0 idea on this right now. I just started it over. I'm just going to let that first little attempt be a wash. So it was moving back out to the entry point on the mapping mission again. That little triangle of trees right there in the bottom left, I just can't get that to render correctly in these maps. So there it is, out at its entry point, well away from the road, shuts off its approach video, orients around, still at a 45-degree down angle. It orients the gimbal straight down, minus 90 degrees. I like it. Off it goes. So you know the drill here. I'm not going to make you watch 8 minutes of taking pictures every 2 seconds. We're going to run through this mapping mission this time in 5 seconds. You ready? Wasn't that fun? So it's coming up to the end of mission. And it's orienting for a return to home. Now I was trying to hit that button above the camera button to change it from camera to video, to manually put it in video mode for the flight home. But I kept stabbing over there, and I got the pictures going every 2 seconds rather than video. I'm going to have to work on a different return to home. So again, I oriented gimbal straight down for landing. And I had to scratch 24 pictures out of the data set for the mapping mission. Oh well, such be life. So that mapping mission, in my opinion, went well. Not sure the problems with the platform. I'll check that out more. So here's the landing on the mapping flight, and then we'll look at the data. I am now rendering the data in 3 different mapping programs for comparison. This is Pix4D Discovery. Discovery means it's demo. And if we look at our output here, oops, we'll go up. It doesn't give us maps like the other. It gives us previews. And you can see again, my corners are bad. I will try 350, 400 feet, but I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference. I'm not sure why. I think I can send a message from send a message to Pix4D support and ask them why they think my corners aren't coming out. If I look at the overall data, see, where is it? This sort of shows that in this area I get a lot of good data, but down in here the data falls out for some reason. I do not know why. It doesn't do it on drone deploy at all. We'll go and look and see what this data set looks like in the drone deploy. Okay, this is web open drone map, and we'll see what this yielded for data. And there it is again. My corner's gone. Other than that, it looks pretty good. If I would make the area for mapping bigger to try to see if I can just get the sweet spot in the center and get my full property, but here where I am, I can't fly over the road, so I can't move it out to the west anymore. Just not going to happen. So web open drone mapping seems to be about the same as the Pix4D video. So let's look at one last one. And finally, here's the process data in drone deploy. I have noticed something. Finally, I've been worrying that WebODM wasn't giving me good data, and drone deploy was, but I can see now that drone deploy is cropping more. If we look at my WebODM where I was worrying about the corners, I also have a house, full house. Let's see if that's actually what is out back behind it. Yeah, that's the back deck. This is the sewage line to the septic tank that's buried right here. And yes, all that ground is exactly, there's the workshop. These are the piles of dirt. That is what is over there. So on drone deploy, we don't even have anything out behind the workshop or the house. So yeah, drone deploy is cropping. I thought drone deploy was doing a better job than WebODM, but in fact it's not. It's just cropping more. I thought it was giving me a perfectly square output, and when I looked at Pix4D, I thought it was giving me the same data as WebODM, but it was also losing my corners. I think it is losing some corner right here. I think that's because of focus and stuff. This is Pix4D, WebODM, drone deploy. And we can see down here along the bottom, drone deploy is cropping. Yeah. Oops. Drone deploy is cropping a whole lot more out of the picture. So I think one of the real solutions to it, and I can't really, this is a, oh, I did get a little bit of a preview. I can't zoom on it or anything, but I can make it full screen. Well, I can zoom a little bit. Okay, yeah. And see, here's those two buildings. This building exactly like it is. Landlord's house, landlord's lake. Everything right here is what it is, what it should be. But drone deploy's cropped way up in this area across the bottom. Didn't really crop the top, but it cropped the right side and the left side pretty heavily to give a square picture, I would say. Whereas WebODM does have those buildings, drone deploy does not. Okay, well, that sort of starts telling me what I need to know. Were this a commercial project, I'm not sure what I would do here. I can't extend to the west any further because I would be flying over a road, and if I go much further, 50 feet further, I'll be flying over other people's houses. Can't do either one of those. With permission, I could extend over these properties on the north and the east. I guess I could get permission from these houses too. I'm just not going to go through all that for basically hobbyists and trying to figure this out at this point. So that's really all I have to say about the flight today. Drone deploy, I've only got 2 more days of demo time with it. I thought drone deploy was doing a better job than WebODM and Pix4D, but I see it's just cropping more heavily. I'd say someplace in these I could change a cropping and get an actual square flight. So I feel better. I feel much better about the WebODM software. I actually purchased it for $60. Drone deploy seems to be about, where do I find that information? Drone deploy, I think, is $149. Here we go. Drone deploy. Here it is. Yeah, on a month-to-month basis, it's $149 a month. But that's not even the full version that creates more accurate maps. That would be $449 for a month. $299 if you purchase it a year at a time. This is $99 if you purchase it a year at a time. I just can't do that as a hobby. I can't even do the $449 for 1 month. I really don't think I can do the $149 for 1 month. So, and now I'm not sure that the drone deploy was even doing a better job. It's just doing heavier cropping. So I've got it figured out right about the end of my demo time. Let's see. Whoops. I was trying to get to the Pix4D pricing. Let's see. Pix4D. Well, let's see if I can get to their pricing. Here is Pix4D's pricing for just the mapper program. It's $291.67 a month if you pay for it yearly. If you pay for it on a monthly basis, it's $350 a month. I can't afford Pix4D for fun as a hobbyist, but I can forever do sample missions in the software that I downloaded from Pix4D to my computer to sort of keep generating images for comparison as I continue to work with WebODM and Pix4D drone deploy. I just can't afford. And I think they all three do about the same now, so that's where I will leave it. Thank you so much for watching.